Director, Senior Associate Professor, Department of Medical Education, Government, Kerala. He is Additional Director of Indian Institute of Diabetes, Trivandrum. He has presented more than 200 papers in national and international regional conferences in diabetes and internal medicine conferences. Sir, I welcome you. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Chairperson, senior members of the profession, colleagues, friends. To start with, let me thank Dr. Vijay Kumar, Dr. Krishna Seshadri and his entire team for giving an excellent opportunity to attend this meeting. Topic given to me is benefits of incretins treatment. And time allotted is only 20 or maximum 21 minutes, that's all. So I don't want to discuss basic information regarding incretin system. If you are selecting a molecule for the treatment of type 2 diabetes mellitus, what are the characters which we should see? Number one, that should be an effective drug. Without effect, there is no point at all for selecting a molecule. That should address most of the pathophysiological changes pertaining to type 2 diabetes mellitus. Very important aspect is safety profile of a drug which is selected for your patient. And I would like to discuss a unique phenomenon, that is what is known as beta cell preservation in type 2 diabetes mellitus and whatever pleiotropic effects which are available with this molecule. So point number one, we have only 5 points here. Point number one, the effectiveness or efficacy of oral hypoglycemic agent or incretin treatment. When you see the figure here, it's only 1.5% glycosylated hemoglobin. But if you look into the entire chart, glibenclamide or secretagogues, that the secretagogue has got a glycosylated hemoglobin reduction of 2%, but with lot of medical problems. But for incretin system, maximum reduction is only 1.5. But everything put together, effectiveness, safety profile, I have a feeling that this chart shows one of the most effective molecule is incretin. So question number two, point number two, this should address most of the pathophysiological changes in type 2 diabetes mellitus. What are the pathophysiological changes in type 2 diabetes mellitus? We have two basic pathophysiological changes, insulin resistance and insulin secretory defect. If you are seeing this data beautifully showed that if you give incretin based treatment, they were measuring the C-peptide level after giving incretin based treatment. It was showing drastic increase in the level of insulin, or you can call it the C-peptide or insulin secretory capacity was increased by incretin based treatment. On the right side, you can see here insulin sensitivity or resistance is coming down. So these are the two important benefits of incretin treatment. And what I want to tell you that incretin based treatment that will address pathophysiological changes in type 2 diabetes mellitus. To continue again, these are the data with liraglutide beta cell function, that is restoration of beta cell function. That is what is happening with incretin system. To continue further, you can see here, see this paper shows the restoration of first phase and second phase insulin secretion in a diabetic patient. One of the earliest change in type 2 diabetes mellitus is loss of first phase insulin. So if you have a molecule like incretin that will restore the first phase and second phase insulin secretion and eventual correction of hyperglycemia, that's a result. So you can, if you can see here, the insulin level after giving glucose is significantly increased. So that is the merit of your incretin based treatment. Now, everything put together, this is what is happening. So you have lot of pathophysiological changes, octet system, whatever system. If you are using incretin system, that will address most of the pathophysiological changes in type 2 diabetes mellitus. That's a message I would like to convey here. Regarding third point, probably the most important point in incretin treatment, safety profile. If you are seeing the efficacy pattern already discussed, without a good cardiovascular benefit or friendly attitude, the incretin is not a good molecule, I would say. Among safety profile, 3 important aspects you should see. What about the issue of hypoglycemia? Number 2, is there any character of weight gain property? Number 3, see cardiac friendly. That should be a cardiac friendly drug. So these are the 3 important aspects you should address in this context. Now, yet another important aspect is glycemic variability. If you ask me one simple question, tell me, doctor, what are the drugs which are effective for treating glycemic variability? Nowadays, you go to any conference, you can discuss, you can hear lot of papers regarding glycemic variability. So glycemic variability is a very, very important issue, and that should be addressed. If you have a molecule like incretin system, one of the best molecule for correcting glycemic variability is incretin-based treatment. Now, regarding hypoglycemia, very important. See, you can intensify the treatment. You go for dietary management. So only very small or negligible fraction of patients are getting this hypoglycemia. If you go up to multiple doses of insulin treatment, 3 or 4 doses of insulin, hypoglycemia is the rule. Most of the patient or half of the patient, at least one third of the patient will develop hypoglycemia at least once. That is the merit of intensification of treatment. This is my own terminology, J-shaped phenomenon in clinical diabetology. What is this J-shaped phenomenon? Once the blood sugar goes down less than 80 milligrams, mortality is 23%. And once it's coming down, you can see here with blood sugar between 80 to 100 or 110, mortality is minimum. After that, again, see, it's coming down. This is what is known as J-shaped phenomenon in clinical diabetology. Now, let us look into the ground reality. The incidence of hypoglycemia in all these studies, starting with the ACCORD study, Veterans Affairs study, Advanced study, those who had intensive treatment, if you compare with the standard treatment, incidence of hypoglycemia is very high. See what is happening in advanced study? It was a jump from one point to another point. So what I want to tell you that hypoglycemia is a very important issue with the conventional drugs. Now, yet another important information you should address, ACCORD study. What was the issue with the ACCORD study? ACCORD study documented few extra deaths in intensively treated diabetes patients. What was the cause of that? One of the cause was past history of hypoglycemia. So what I want to tell you that at any cost you should address hypoglycemia. That's a message I want to convey. Here, if you look into the incidence of hypoglycemia, maximum number of hypoglycemia documented in this study with the glutinides, and you have sulfonylurea. With incretin-based treatment, incidence of hypoglycemia is negligible or less. At least it's less. Now, what are the demerits of hypoglycemia? You have lot of issues that like an escalation of inflammatory system, endothelial dysfunction, coagulation abnormalities, and that can trigger or throw some electrophysiological changes or arrhythmias, eventually hemodynamic instability, sometimes morbidity, and if not controlled properly, that can lead on to mortality also. In clinical practice, these are the various studies, risk of hypoglycemia. I don't want to read the entire slide. See what is happening here, 14-fold reduction, it's not percentage, 14-fold reduction of hypoglycemia when they compared the efficacy of glimepiride versus vildagliptin. So if you look into the data with the glipizide, again it was showing significant reduction. So vildagliptin or gliptin-based treatment, it was a winning molecule and it was showing good response, at least in terms of hypoglycemia episodes. The message I would like to convey from here is with the gliptin group or gliptin molecules, incidence of severe hypoglycemia you can see here it's only 0%. So severe hypoglycemia is less. Overall hypoglycemic episodes were significantly reduced with the gliptin system. This is yet another data. They were comparing the efficacy of sitagliptin versus sulfonylurea. Incidence of hypoglycemia, both symptomatic as well as asymptomatic hypoglycemia was significantly reduced with the incretin-based treatment. Now, so number one, so stamp of approval. First point, hypoglycemic episodes are significantly reduced with incretin-based treatment. Now let us look into the second aspect, weight. If you are seeing the data, 70% of the patients with the type 2 diabetes mellitus, either they are having normal weight or obesity. So if you are selecting a molecule for the treatment, first treatment is metformin or non-pharmacotherapy. After that, if you are going further, you should choose a good molecule that will address the weight issue. Do you have a molecule? We'll look into that. Now, in the intensive treatment, this is what is happening. So weight gain, that's a rule. You can't, it's extremely difficult to prevent that. You can reduce it with intensive treatment. So if you are seeing the data with insulin and glibenclamide, it's very high incidence of weight gain, which is not acceptable. Now, if you are seeing the weight gain, the data showed pioglitazone has got maximum weight gain, followed by you have sulfonylurea, and with DPP-4 and alpha-glucosidase inhibiting drugs, weight gain was significantly reduced. So in reality, exanitinib that was showing reduction of 6 kilograms of weight with exanitinib, liraglutide again dose-dependent response it's documented in this study. So again, second point that was addressing the weight issue, sign of approval, stamp of approval. Now third point is cardiovascular friendly or cardiovascular benefits. We all know that glycosylated hemoglobin reduction is good with most of the drugs to a tune of 0.8 to 2% or with insulin maximum glycosylated hemoglobin reduction. That's a usual pattern. But most of the studies or most of the drugs are not showing any significant effect on target organ damage. Yet another interesting phenomenon, see, there are landmark papers or literature says that questioning the cardio-renal safety of the drugs. This is one paper, probably one of the triggering factor, rosiglitazone and increased episodes of vascular insults, myocardial infarction. Now followed by you have papers with the secretagogues. What is shown here is the incidence of myocardial ischemia with past history of myocardial infarction, in the previous myocardial infarction, without myocardial infarction, and secretagogues, it was showing little risk for developing vascular insult. That was the reason. People are coming with a lot of papers. This paper is with the sitagliptin. It was showing an encouraging report. This is yet another paper with the vildagliptin. Again, it was showing a good safety profile. If you see the analysis for the cardiovascular safety of sitagliptin in clinical trials, sitagliptin showed better response and it was useful. Now, what are the benefits which we are going to achieve with these gliptins? One is in terms of blood pressure reduction, reduction of heart rate, lipid profile, definitely that will modify the lipid profile. There are effects on myocardium and endothelial function will get improved. These are the various benefits of GLP-1 treatment in clinical practice. So let us explore further. You can see here reduction of blood pressure. See, you can see here, and nocturnal systolic BP, that is one of the triggering factor for vascular disease. With incretin-based treatment, see the reduction of nocturnal BP surge was documented in this study. Now, regarding the lipid profile, there are various aspects: satiety issue, reduction of gastric emptying, reduction of gastric lipase, and eventually that will arrest the postprandial hyperlipemia. That is what is happening. And with exanitinib, you can see the reduction of triglycerides, reduction of serum apolipoprotein 48. These are the various merits of your incretin-based treatment. Yet another important aspect is that will inhibit the addition of monocytes. What is the importance of monocytes? Monocyte addition, that's a first event. After that, there will be acceleration of atherosclerosis. There will be acceleration of atherosclerosis. So if you go for a molecule like incretins, so it was showing that, see, with exanitinib, you can see the addition is significantly reduced. So that is one merit of this incretin system. Regarding this infarct size, see the blue shade, see what is happening here, significant reduction, p-value is 0.01. So infarct size is coming down, even vitro as well as vivo, this myocardial infarct size was coming down. This is yet another paper showing that the reduction of infarct size. This is what is shown here is improvement of left ventricular ejection fraction. See, with incretin-based treatment, left ventricular ejection fraction was increasing up to or 10% extra increase was documented with incretin-based treatment. Now, regarding the endothelial function, See the improvement of endothelial function. It was significant, statistically significant endothelial function. It was documented with the incretin-based treatment. That's the reason people are coming with a lot of papers. N number of papers are yet to publish. Mostly we are expected to get the first paper in 2014. Now, therefore, if you choose a molecule for type 2 diabetes mellitus, you just look into at least these three safety profiles: hypoglycemia, weight issue, and cardiovascular benefit. These are the issues you should address. For that, you have good molecules. Number fourth point is, what about the beta cell preservation? If you go for sulfonylurea, you go for glibenclamide, glimepiride, what will be the molecule? So beta cell failure is a rule after 2 years, 2 or 3 years. That is what is happening. That was a lesson from UKPD study. After 2 years, drug failure. That's what's happening. Why this drug failure? Because see, once you get diabetes mellitus, your beta cell reserve is significantly reduced. So your aim is to increase beta cell mass. How do you increase beta cell mass? You have only two important molecules under this category. Number one is incretin treatment. Second is glutathiones. Now, there are various beta cell proliferation, beta cell mass, reduction of beta cell apoptosis. Because of these various physiological actions, beta cell mass is maintained with incretin-based treatment. This is what is happening, beta cell depletion of beta cells. After giving incretin-based treatment, there will be preservation or restoration of beta cell. That's a result with your treatment. Now, what is shown here with the DPP-4 again, see, one of the message here is to introduce incretin-based treatment. Don't wait for a long time. Start treatment little early. So the incidence or the benefit of beta cell preservation will be very good. That's a study from this slide. Again, this slide showed the increase in the beta cell or pancreatic insulin secretion from beta cell. It seems to be good if you go for early introduction of incretin-based molecule. These are the various molecular mechanism by which the beta cell preservation occurs. Now, how do you assess the apoptosis? There is an element of apoptosis. Apoptosis coming down drastically as evidenced by TXNIP expression, caspase expression, BAX expression, everything was coming down. So what I want to tell you from this slide, what is depicted here is apoptosis is notably reduced with incretin system. Now, with liraglutide, you can see here as a white shadow the beta cell mass. After liraglutide, beta cell mass is restored. That is what is happening with incretin treatment. Now, last point number 5. We have already discussed lot of pleiotropic effects of statin. Pleiotropic effects are there. Metformin, lot of pleiotropic effects. In addition, we have lot of pleiotropic effects for incretin-based treatment also. What is shown here as a pancreas, we already discussed. Cardiovascular benefit, we already discussed. There are good signs, green signals for giving a statement that there are pleiotropic effects on brain or neurohormonal changes. In kidney, there are changes. In bone, there are changes. Even in the stomach, you can see here, if you read this article, 2-hour food intake is significantly reduced. See what is happening with dose-dependent reduction of food intake and food intake with lunch as well as dinner. With the GLP-1, it was showing significant reduction. Gastric emptying is delayed. See, instead of 50 or 60, it was going significant and gastric emptying was delayed. This is yet another paper showing that neuroprotective and neurotropic effects. So what are the effects? You can see here in Parkinson's disease, see what is happening here? Now, striatal dopamine level is good with exenatide, and in Alzheimer's disease, they were measuring certain molecules, amyloid plaque, dense core plaque, inflammatory response. It was showing an encouraging report here with the liraglutide, with the neurogenesis with liraglutide, it was showing some significant change. So message from this slide is the incretin-based treatment has got pleiotropic effects in the brain, and you can have a good response in terms of the nervous system. In peripheral nervous system, central sensory neuropathy, it was showing good response according to this paper. And renoprotective, at least 3 aspects they were looking to. One is sodium excretion and reduction of hyperfiltration, creatinine clearance, enhancing the urinary secretion. See here, sodium excretion is good with GLP-1 treatment. You can see here in nephropathy there are 3 or 4 factors. Urinary transforming growth factor, it was coming down with the hexanitinide treatment. Albumin excretion or microalbuminuria, it was coming down. So everything put together, it's a renal infantry drug. See, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to tell you that incretin-based treatment has got definite positive edge in clinical practice. There are certain signals shows that has got a positive, at least there is no negative impact with our incretin system. And exactly that's the reason professional forum, they are coming with a lot of recommendation. See the position of GLP-1 treatment. In mild diabetes, you can go for GLP-1 treatment. Moderate diabetes or dual treatment, you can for incretin-based treatment. Even in the last phase or triple therapy phase, you can start incretin system. See, to conclude, incretin is the best molecule, which is very effective molecule in clinical practice that will address most of the pathophysiological changes in type 2 diabetes mellitus. Safety profile, which we already discussed, it seems very encouraging reports. There are something known as beta cell preservation capacity, one of the unique phenomenon of incretin system. And lastly, pleiotropic effects. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all from me. Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, Welsi.